Very good morning to one and all. Once again, welcome back to Geography class. In this class, we are going to see the second topic of the chapter number 4. I request all the cadet, please continue with it. As we had seen in the topic number 1, what is the meaning of agriculture? As we had seen the types of farming, in that the first one, the primitive subsistence farming. Now in this topic we are going to see the other types of farming. So as in our previous presentation we had seen about the primitive subsistence farming. So that was the farming which was practiced on a small patches of land with the help of the primitive tools, as well as they are using the slash and burn agriculture. So having the continuity with that, we are moving to see the upcoming point from this topic. So we are having a small story. Please read the story. The story is speaking. Rinja lived with her family in a small village at the outskirts of Tipu in Assam. She enjoyed watching her family member clearing, slashing and burning a patch of land for cultivation. She often helps them in irrigating the field with water running through a bamboo canal from the nearby spring. She loves the surrounding and wants to stay here as long as she can. But this little girl has no idea about the declining fertility of the soil, and her family search for a fresh patch of the land in the next season. Dear cadet, here the story of Rinja is speaking to you about the slash and burn agriculture. Next, the topic is speaking about the shift cultivation also in another name. So Rinja, she is residing in Assam with a family and they are cultivating slash and burn agriculture. Here the point is stating about the irrigation is done with the bamboo. As we had seen in the chapter number water resources, drip irrigation and the bamboo irrigation, right? So in that point already we had seen how with the help of bamboo they are irrigating the land piece. So here she is having a no idea that after some time she has to leave the land piece and they have to move on a other land because the fertility of the soil is going to be decreased, and for having the good cultivation and good amount of the agriculture product they have to search a new land. So dear cadet, you are understanding about the merits and demerits of the slashing and burning agriculture, or slash or burn agriculture, or shift cultivation. So in our previous topic, what is the meaning of zooming? What are the different words? For the word zooming, already I had cleared for you. Please go through that and please read this story once again so you can understand about the side effects and the good effects of the zooming cultivation. Next, can you name the type of farming Rinja's family is engaged in? As I told you, that's a slash and burn agriculture, or we can speak about zooming or shift cultivation. So can you list some crops which are grown in such farming? So that question is for your homework. Please text me so that I can understand about the cadets are watching the videos and they are writing the correct answer. Both the questions are for your homework purpose. Please text me on WhatsApp. Otherwise, write on a piece of paper, click the photograph and send it to me on WhatsApp. Dear cadet, as we are talking about the types of farming, in that the first, this already we had seen having the continuity, the primitive subsistence farming. Okay? As I told you earlier, this agriculture or this type of farming is done on a small patch of the land by using the primitive tools, and to gain the soil fertility they are using the slash and burn agriculture. Now we are going to discuss about the intensive subsistence farming. Please make a note of it. Next, intensive subsistence farming. First one was primitive subsistence farming, and this is intensive subsistence farming. This type of farming is practiced in an area of high population, pressure on the land. I am repeating it again. This type of farming is practiced in an area of a high population, pressure on land. It is a labor intensive farming where high doses of biochemical inputs and irrigation are used for obtaining high production. So after reading it, it's clear to you that the intensive subsistence farming is done or practice where the high population is residing on the land base and the labor intensive technique is used. That means the more amount of labor are used in this farming. That means modern farming methods are not adopted here. Labor intensive and capital intensive. Labor are more, and modern farming method, just we are talking about here, biochemical inputs and irrigation are used for obtaining. So it's clear for you, intensive subsistence farming and primitive subsistence farming. In examination, the differentiation can be asked on this topic. What is the difference between intensive subsistence farming and primitive subsistence farming? So another one is homework for you. Can you name some of the states of India where such farming is practiced? I repeat, can you name some of the state of India where such farming is practiced? That means intensive subsistence farming. The right of inheritance leading, that means generation by generation they are getting the lands from their ancestors and so on, to the division of the land among the successive generation has rendered the land holding size uneconomically. The farmer continued to take maximum amount of the output from the limited land in the absence of the alternative source of livelihood. Thus, there is an enormous pressure on the agricultural land. So, by this paragraph, it's clear that generation by generation they are getting the land from their ancestor, but here the one problem is there, the land is divided into pieces. So, the land holding capacity and the land holding size is uneconomically. As we has already seen in 9th standard, right? The story of the village Palampur, how the land is divided, right? A farmer is having a one land piece. If the farmer is having the 2 sons, the land is going to be divided into 2 parts. If he is having the 3 sons, so the land is going to be divided into 3 parts. Like that, the land holding capacity is going to be uneconomically, and the production will be low, and lots number of the things are going to be there. Next, commercial farming. This is the another type of farming, commercial farming. So the main characteristic of this type of farming is the use of higher doses of modern input. Here we are talking about the modern inputs, which are, that is the HYV seeds, which means high yielding varieties of seeds, chemical fertilizers, insecticides and pesticides in order to obtain a higher productivity. The degree of commercialization of agriculture varies from the region to region. For example, rice is a commercial crop in Haryana and Punjab, but in Orissa it is a subsistence crop. So like that, this is the third type of farming. First, we have seen the primitive subsistence farming. Next, we have seen intensive subsistence farming. Now we are talking about commercial farming. So in the commercial farming, the modern inputs are more. The example already I told you, the good variety of the seed which is going to give a high yielding. Use of the fertilizer, that means the chemical fertilizer. Insect cannot harm the crop, so they are using insecticides. Pest cannot harm, so they are using pesticides, and by it they are gaining a higher productivity. And the degree of commercialization of agriculture is going to be different from area to area. Just the example has been shown here. For the Punjab and Haryana, the rice is a commercial crop over there, right? For the commercial purpose, they are growing this crop, but in Orissa, for sustaining purpose, they are growing the crop rice. Next, can you give some more example of crops which may be commercial in one region and may provide subsistence in another region? So you have to read the chapter clearly. By reading it, you can understand it. Now you are at your home, you can use your net also, and you can use the other method also to find out this answer. Can you give some more example of crops which may be commercial in one region and may provide subsistence in other region? So like that, this question is again for your homework purpose. What do you have to do? You have to write the answer, click the photograph, send to me. Otherwise, you can text me on WhatsApp. Next, plantation. Please go through this slide. So plantation is also a type of commercial farming. So in that, what is there? Please read it. In this type of farming, a single crop is grown on a large area. So it's clear what is plantation. So the definition is clear here. So plantation is the type of farming in which a single crop grown on a large area. Just we are having the bamboo plantation, banana plantation, tea, coffee, and so on. So a single crop is grown in a large area. The plantation has an interface of agriculture and industry. Plantation covers large tract of land using the capital intensive inputs. In our previous part, we have seen labor intensive techniques. Here is the capital intensive inputs are more. With the help of migrant laborers, all the produce is used as a raw material in respective industries. So soon in upcoming slides, we are going to talk about how the raw material for the industries. Point number 1, the definition for the plantation. It's clear to you. From a single crop is grown on a large area. Then it's going to have the capital intensive inputs so that high productivity will be. Next, you can see the photographs which has been placed in the textbook. Figure number 4.2, figure number 4.3. Please observe the photograph. So it's going to be crystal clear for you what is the meaning of plantation. I request you to please observe it clearly. What is plantation farming? I repeat once more. In this type of farming, a single crop is grown on a large area. Along with production, processing is also done in the nearby area. So the plantation has an interface for agriculture as well as the industry. Okay, let's move further. Next year, in India, tea, coffee, rubber, sugarcane, banana, etc. are the important plantation crops. Tea in Assam and North Bengal, coffee in Karnataka. Please make a note of it. In our state, coffee are the some important plantation crops in these states. Since the production is mainly for the market, as we are talking about here, it's coming in the commercial one and it's a plantation crop. A well developed network of transport and communication connecting the plantation area, processing industry and market play an important role in the development of plantation. So it's going to be clear as the raw material is available for the coffee making companies. So the coffee beans are going to be produced and send it to that particular industry to produce the coffee. Just we are having the examples of tea, coffee, rubber, sugarcane and banana. These are the examples of plantation crop. For example, once again, tea garden produce tea and coffee plantation produce coffee. Right? The two state example has been given here. The tea in Assam, North Bengal, coffee in Karnataka. You have to remember the examples also. Next, just we are having the example of rubber. It is grown in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Garo Hills of Meghalaya. Right? In examination, the differentiation can also be asked. Differentiate between the commercial farming and plantation farming. I repeat the question. Differentiation or differentiate between commercial farming and plantation. At the last, I want to have a generalization for today's topic and the important question which are very valuable as a part of examination. As we had seen about the three types of farming. First one, the primitive subsistence farming. As I told you earlier, it is done on a small patch of land with the help of the primitive tools. As we have seen, the slash and burn agriculture, or we can speak about the sift cultivation. Next, we have seen intensive subsistence farming, which is practiced in an area of a high population, pressure on the land, and it is labor intensive farming. And the use of biochemicals inputs and irrigation are used for obtaining higher production. And the last, that's the commercial one. In the commercial one, we had seen the main characteristics of this type of farming. That means the high dose of the modern farming methods, in that the HYV seeds, insecticide, pesticides, fertilizers are used in order to have higher productivity. After that, we have seen the plantation crops. Okay, the question already I told to you. The three types of farming, out of them, any of the two can be asked in differentiation or can be asked, what do you mean by the term agriculture, or explain in detail the primitive subsistence farming. I repeat the question, what do you mean by the term agriculture, and explain in detail primitive subsistence farming. Next question, differentiate between primitive and intensive subsistence farming. One question already I told you, differentiate between the commercial and plantation farming. So dear cadet, today we are stopping here. Please make a note of all the topics which I am covering here. Lastly, I want to thank to each and everyone for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe it, right? So that you can get all the notification and all the videos as I am going to upload it. Thanking to each and everyone. Jai Hind to one and all.